surreal experience if I would put a single adjective to it.
So basically, you're getting a private bedroom in the
Correct.
air.
And of course, there are private bathrooms over there where you can take a shower, also, which I did. You already know your names. They make it personalized from the moment go onwards, right? We were teetotalers, but if you're drinkers, you get the best of the wines, you get
But
the best of the.
I'm sure you get the best of alcohol if you are somebody
Yeah,
who
yeah.
drinks.
So if
So
you're drinking even on the ground, even in the air, you get the best of the alcohols. Two of those suites and three or four of the suites are mostly empty, so you have all four taking care of you.
amazing, amazing. So it is basically four people to take care of just both of
A
you.
couple. You can pre-book, let's say, Michelin star level of chefs, right?
ये
यार
तो
for
रहना है
the
वहाँ
अभी तो रहना है एक दिन कॉफी पी के ही आ जाएंगे ऐसा कुछ नहीं
पे.
तो
How much does it cost to book this flight in cash?
it's around that price 6.5 lakhs for two people and this is just the start of it.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we are back with the second episode of the podcast where we understand how people are redeeming their credit card points and how they are focusing on getting the best of the experiences. So with that in mind, I have Harshit today with me. He's called Cards Wizard on Twitter. All right. So over to you, Harshit. Hi, welcome to the channel.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast. Before we start discussing about your credit card journey and your redemptions and all that, maybe why don't you take a minute and introduce yourself?
Sure. So, hi, my name is Harshit Bora, and of course, as Neeraj said, I am known for my Twitter page that is Cards Wizard. And during my day job, I also have a day job that's not my full-time job. As a day job, I am a consultant with Accenture, and now it has been like 4 or 5 months with Accenture. And prior to this, I was with Citi and Axis for 6 months, and core banking, credit risk management. Kind of roles I have been to in Axis and Citibank. And then post that in last year, I joined Accenture as a consultant. And currently, I'm working with a large MNC project. Basically, we're working on the Gen AI and the LLM models. Right? So this is a brief background about me, and I stay here in Mumbai, born and brought up here itself. I did my MBA as well as engineering from Mumbai itself. So yeah,
Amazing, amazing. So you are working in the AI space, which itself is very interesting,
yeah,
right? Harshit, let us first talk about your Big Bang redemption that you did recently, where you flew the first class suites on Singapore Airlines. So first, tell us about that experience itself, right? How was the experience? Where did you go? And how many hours did you spend on the flight? What exactly happened on the flights? Definitely, we'll pop some photos also on the screen for
sure.
our viewers to see. But I want to understand how was the experience.
So yeah, I would say I guess it's a kind of a surreal experience if I would put a single adjective to it. So it all starts with on the ground itself. When you are actually going, let's say to the terminal, there is a separate space for you to actually check in 3 4 hours early so that you are free from your baggages. Maybe then you can roam around Changi for a bit. That is the Singapore airport. And then once you are done with that, there are separate immigration channels for you specifically for the first class, right? So you go via that channel, and then on the other side, a bit of walking distance away, there is a huge lounge that is a private room, right? So this lounge is not a business class or a first class lounge. This is specifically for your suits people, right? So let's say at any given moment of time there won't be, let's say, 5 to 6, more than 5 to 6 people over there, and there are personal butlers, there are personal let's say helpers who are actually with you, who are taking your orders. There are of course a la carte menu there where you
Wow.
are actually, yeah.
So, Harshit, couple of things before we move on. Firstly, is the suites different from a first class seat on any airline? And secondly, so from what I understand, I think you flew from Singapore to India.
Right. So Suits specifically is a product which is actually specific to two airlines, I think so. Means what we think as a suite is it's a bedroom, right? So where you are actually getting two, let's say, single beds, which can be actually combined in one, which you are getting as a double bed. So indirectly, it's a double bedroom, right? in the sky. So when I say a suit is, let's say, a one bedroom kind of a structure. And while first class, of course, first class are more spacious than the business class, but then those are also just seats, not a, let's say, entire area for you, right? So that's
Got it.
just a minor difference between a suite or a first class,
Amazing. So basically, you're getting a private bedroom in the
right?
air. That's
Yeah.
superb. Now you can carry on with explaining. So after your check-in experience at the airport, then what happened?
Yes, so once we are in that lounge, that is called as a private room because it's like a pin drop silence over there, and you actually are enjoying your meals there. And then once you are done with that, there are private bedrooms for you to sleep so that you can actually take a rest before your flight. And the people will actually come to you and ask you that yes, the boarding has started now. You may actually get ready for your boarding. And of course, there are private bathrooms over there where you can take a shower, also, which I did. For that was a first for me. So yeah, that was amazing on ground experience. And this is just the start of it. Now, once this is done, you leave the lounge, you then walk to your gate, expecting the unexpected now. And then once you are inside, right, they actually greet you like, welcome Mr. Harshit Bora, welcome Mrs. Manisha Bora, my wife. We both flew together, right? They already know your names. They make it personalized from the moment go onwards, right? Then once you enter it, then you actually see the suits, and that is a one heck of a feeling. So what we see in the suit when you actually go into the suit, there is a one big bark lounger, that is a lounger kind of a seat which is already there. And then there is another bed which they actually unroll and create the bed for you whenever you are ready for it. So that's the amount of space, and maybe we can also put some pictures in between so that it's easier to visualize for people. So
Yeah,
once you are in there, you are actually welcomed by a hot towel, you are greeted personally. And of course, if you are drinkers, we were teetotalers, but if you are drinkers, you get the best of the wines, you get
but
the best of
now
the
I'm sure you get the best of alcohol if you are somebody
yeah,
who
yeah.
drinks.
So if
So
you are drinking even on the ground, even in the air, you get the best of the alcohols in the Sing SQ suites. Yeah, and of course, we being teetotalers, we were actually greeted by roasted nuts as well as apple juice or whatever kind of mocktails which we have. But they were also very kind to actually create some new mocktails for us. So that was again great. So that is the start of it. Of course, the flying experience itself, we can talk about that as well. Basically, how
sure.
the so the
So
yeah.
yeah, so Arshit, I guess I totally understand that you have people just for you to take care of you, in this
Yes.
flight, right? So and your total experience and the total time that you spend with the airline is around say 8 to 10 hours. Can I assume
No,
that? So
it's
you have
around 6 hours. So
okay,
I flew from Singapore to Delhi. Actually, I'm a Mumbai resident, but I actually took the Singapore to Delhi one because that was the one which was available on points. And of course, I didn't want to miss that opportunity. And it's a 30 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes, a longer time distance than, let's say, to Mumbai. So that was
okay,
also working in my favor. So that is a 6 hour journey in total, and you will have three attendants there and a one head of those attendants there between. So there are total of six suites, right? And there, out of these six suites, you can actually convert two suites, only four suites into a double bed, right? And the remaining two seats will be only single bed, right?
okay.
So if you are flying with your partners, of course, you have to make sure that you pick those specific kind of seats, let's say 1A, 2A, and 1F, 2F, so that you can actually combine it as a double bed.
No,
So
that's a very interesting input actually. So,
yeah,
folks, if you're flying with your spouses, make sure that you take the front seat so that you get it as a couple because there are only single beds in the rear end of the airline. All right.
right.
So, was this A380 airline to fly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so basically the biggest airline, the jumbo jet A380, and the suites are actually on the second floor. So there are two stories to that. The ground floor would be having, let's say, your economy, premium economy, business class, and on the upper lobby, basically the upper floor, upper deck, you will be having the suites. And there are just six suites, and there are four people to take care of this. And generally, two of those suites and three or four of the suites are mostly empty, so you have all four taking care of you only.
Wow, wow. So, was this the same case when you also flew?
So during my time, there was just one other person who was
Okay.
traveling. But then, yeah, he was not. I guess he was a frequent traveler, so he didn't actually want to, let's say, enjoy, or let's say wanted more help from the attendants. So
Attention.
all the
He needs
attendants,
more attention.
let's say, all the attendants' thoughts were, and their, let's say, dhyan was on us only, for example.
Ah, amazing, amazing. So, this is basically four people to take care of just both of
A
you.
couple,
So
yeah.
I also figure that you also have you can also take shower in the suites, in the air. So, how was your in-air experience on the airline?
So, not on SQ Suites. Of course, that's first class Emirates experience, I guess, on Etihad as well, but not on SQ Suites. We have a great bathroom, and let's say the bathroom itself is a pretty big bathroom over there. We have separate lavatories, we have separate area where you can actually sit down and put your makeup on if you are a woman, of course, and you can get ready before, let's say, means touchdown. So that is, of course, about the bathroom and the entire, let's say, once you are up in the air, they start again asking you for, let's say, if you want something to eat, and they bring you some starters, right? And we being vegetarians, we opted for a paneer starter and another one starter which I'm not recollecting right now. So once that is served, then we wait for our meal time, right? We boarded, I guess, 4:35 p.m. on Singapore time, and then 2 hours prior to that, they come to us, and then we are ready for our meals as well, right? So once the meal service itself is an experience here, right? So you can actually pre-book the meal. You can pre-book, let's say, Michelin star level of chefs, right? Here. And for us being vegetarian, we preferred Sanjeev Kapoor. It was a four-course meal, starting from a starter and then main course, and then sorry, soup, starter, main course, and of course the sweets. And we just happened to mention that it was our anniversary week this month, so they actually prepared the sweets as uh, uh, they actually greeted us in the sweets itself, right? So they actually wrote "Happy Anniversary, Mr. and Mrs. Bora" in the sweets itself. So yeah, that was again great personal touch, and of
Superb.
course, yeah, and that was
In,
the entire thing about it. And
in
then in the end, they also provided us with some collectible teddy bears that are actually specific to Singapore Airlines. So they gave one each, that is male and female teddy, to each one of us.
Superb, Harshit. So, Harshit, I am definitely, personally also excited to now go and experience the same thing, right? I've never flown first class or suites. Obviously, I've definitely done business class multiple times, but never got an opportunity to do this. But now that you have spoken so much about it, I will definitely try to do that. So, Harshit, let us now, move to. Now that we have discussed this redemption experience of yours in detail, right? Let us understand how did you prepare for this redemption experience? Okay, tell us, how much does it cost to book this flight in cash,
Right.
and how much did you spend on credit cards? What kind of credit cards did you use? Did you also plan to, did you start saving your points and collecting your credit card points with an aim to fly this airline? Was this the case?
So the thing is that what I think about the credit card points is like these things are luxury enablers, right? So this is a term I put to my credit card points. So what I mean by that, basically, these are the things which you will not mostly think of doing on cash, means paying out of your own pocket. Let's say this double bed would cost me 6.5 lakhs any day, any time of the day. You just see, you can even go now and actually check in the on their website. It's around that price, 6.5 lakhs for two people to fly those suites, right? And I am of course born and brought up in a middle class family, and of course now maybe I may be earning pretty well, but of course I won't think about it that yeah, I will spend 6 lakhs on a
I know people
experience.
with I know people with 300 crores also who will not fly even business class, right? So I mean,
Exactly,
like for us, obviously we cannot be spending that money in
exactly,
cash and flying.
right.
So
So
now, how did you prepare for this this redemption?
yeah, so currently in India, there are only three issuers which actually give us this, let's say, luxury of flying these business class flights, these suites, and let's say even hotels, luxurious hotels, ITC, Accor, all those kind of hotels, right? So these three issuers being HDFC Bank and Axis Bank and Amex, that is American Express, right? And these are the only three issuers which will actually. There are of course HSBC and all. There is a HSBC and others as well, but of course their earn rate and their let's say their sourcing is not that good. But three are the main ones, that is HDFC, Axis, and Amex, right?
Which
So
cards in HDFC, Axis, and at MX?
right. The best one being, of course, from HDFC is the Infinia one, right? The HDFC Infinia, which I hold personally. And then, of course, there is the second best. And of course, it's almost at par with Infinia. That is the Diners Black credit card. So these are the two from HDFC. Axis, coming to Axis, there are two again from Axis. That is Atlas, Axis Atlas. And then second is the Axis Magnus Burgundy card, right? Which actually gives you up to 14% returns as well if you are actually spending more than 1.5 lakhs, right, on that. So these are on the Axis and HDFC, and of course Amex. All their cards are known for their let's say points earning and then converting into all this luxurious experiences by via the miles program. And their best one personally I feel is the platinum travel card, where you directly spend 4 lakh and of course get 50-60,000 points and a 10K Taj voucher with it as well, right? So to start with, of course, these are the kind of issues we
So
go
how
into.
much money? So now that we have understood that the basic credit cards, folks. So we've been talking about these cards on the channel for a very long time, right? These are probably the best cards to hold, right? You don't really have to look at any other cards beyond these cards if your annual spends is say under 20 to 30 lakh rupees,
Right,
right? So Harshit, then how much money did you exactly spend
right.
for this experience, and what was the redemption requirement? How many points did you require to meet this redemption?
Right. So all these kind of experiences, of course, cost you some miles or points, right? How you earn those points and miles via these credit cards. You spend on these credit cards, they give you reward points, you convert it into air miles, hotel miles, and then utilize those, right? So this is the kind of a broader structure. Of course, there are cashback credit cards which will give you direct cashbacks, but these are specifically rewards specifically to the air miles and hotel miles, right? So now, as I alluded to earlier, there are three types of let's say issuers which can help you, right? And in the best possible manner, if you spend let's say 6 lakh rupees on HDFC credit card, so I have a detailed post on it on Twitter, on my Twitter as well, explaining how I went about it, and also how did I actually let's say collected these points, and actually how people can also collect it via different means, right?
Please put the link of that Twitter post in the
Definitely,
description box, folks. You should definitely read it entirely if you want, because we'll not be able to discuss all of it in detail here.
exactly,
So you should definitely read that post. All right,
right.
Harshit, you can carry on.
Yeah, so first one being just a gist of it. First one being HDFC Infinia. If you are smart and actually spend 50,000 a month on let's say 10x kind of categories, then you can actually have this experience for two people in 6 lakhs flat, right? In 6 lakhs of spending, you can actually get this experience because HDFC is a one-to-one partner with your
So
Singapore
are you
Airlines.
saying that is a 100% reward rate there?
Yes, if you can spend 10%, 10 on the 10x partners, that is
Even
a
if
caveat
so,
here. Yeah.
10x partners are very few on Infinia, right? You
So
have
we have hotels, we have
yeah,
Jockey, we have Farm Easy as of now.
correct. So
And
I mean, how much can one spend on hotels and
yeah,
farm
of
easy?
course, that's the best case scenario. And of course, there are double asterisk marks to that. That of course you have to be very specific on your spends. But then of course, if you let's say even on an average or let's say blended basis, if you are doing 3 to 5x kind of let's say
Yeah,
spends
5x
on,
is quite easy actually
yeah,
on Infinia.
right,
So even if
5x.
I'm doing 5x, that means 50% return on
Yeah,
12 lakhs
exactly.
spent.
Yes. 12 to 15 lakhs of spends, and yes, you have your. So I'll come to the redemption from how many points are also required. I guess that we missed actually.
Yes.
So for A380 suites for two people, now Singapore Airline releases 2 to 3 seats per flight, right? From Singapore to Mumbai, or Mumbai, or let's say India to Singapore, right? And this can be of two categories, right? First being the saver seats, which will only cost you 58,500 points, right?
All right. So 58,500 miles for one first class suite experience in Singapore Airlines from Singapore to Delhi.
Right, that is just one, that is a half of a suite, not a double, right? So
Correct.
one seat being 58,500, and if you want two seats, it will be the double of that, right?
One lakh
100
17 thousand points as
117,000.
a couple.
Right. But nowadays, actually, we are not seeing that many releases like two seats in this saver category. Generally, what we are seeing is one saver, one advantage. Now, what I mean by advantage, a bit higher rates are required there. So, 98,000 points, Singapore airline points would be required for one advantage seat, right?
So how was your redemption? Did you do two savers or did you do one advantage plus one saver?
I did both advantage. So, 98,000 into two, that is
Okay.
196,000
So,
Singapore airline points.
folks, basically, when you go to the Singapore Airlines portal and check any look any sector, right? Say from Singapore to Delhi, you have to click on redeem miles button there, and then you get to select the cabin that you want to fly. So, if you select first class suites cabin and go to the next page, you will see two types of redemption options. One is called a saver, and one is called an advantage. Saver is basically a cheaper fare that is available to you, but it's very hard to get there.
Right.
So you have to be very selective on dates as well if you have to
Yes.
redeem this,
You have
right?
to be flexible on that, yes. And it can be the case that Singapore may be releasing it 60 days prior to your flight. So that's kind of the window they check, they release their suites on the saver side. So 60 to 70 days kind of before your flying date is generally when they release the saver. And
Okay.
nowadays we are just seeing one saver and one advantage actually.
Got it. Got it. So one
Yeah,
saver plus
perfect.
one advantage will be around 1.55 lakh mile requirement always,
Yes,
right? All
right.
right. So that is also not bad
Not
actually,
bad.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So now, if somebody see very difficult to get Infinia for somebody, right?
right,
So let's say Axis Atlas is very easy because you have like 1 lakh rupees income requirement.
right,
MX cards have 6 lakh rupees income
right.
requirement, right? So let us talk about these two cards and figure out how much do I need to spend if I have to move my points to Singapore Airlines.
So the problem with Atlas is on its own, it won't be able to help you there, right?
Okay.
Because of the spending caps, the transfer caps on Group B partners. So what when I mean by Group B partner, there are two groups of partners where you can spend and convert your miles to in from Atlas credit card. Group one being I guess 60,000 miles, that is 1.2 lakh miles per year, and Group B being 60,000 miles maximum, I guess, is
So
if I'm not wrong.
On Atlas, it's 30,000 and 1,20,000. Group A and Group B.
No, 13 to 2, right? Not six,
Yeah,
13 to 2.
13 to 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
13 to
60,000.
60,000 miles.
60,000,
Correct.
right. 60,000 miles. And the problem with Access Atlas is Singapore Airlines is a B partner. So
Okay,
you,
partner.
yeah,
Okay.
so you might only get one saver seat via that
Got
Access
it. Got it.
Atlas.
So you have to
So,
use, no, you can't just meet your target as a couple based on only one card. You have to
right.
use
If you are
several.
traveling single, of course, you can do that.
Okay.
Right.
And MX, I understand MX, the transfer ratio is 2:1, right?
2:1, right. Just before going to MX, there is just one more card with access which one actually, if you are a very heavy spender, right, it can actually get you two seats in a suite, let's say in 1 month of spend itself. So
Okay.
that is your Axis Magnus Burgundy. Again, I have provided detailed charts how you can actually go about the spends and actually collect those points in my tweet. But
But
yeah, if you can spend, if of course there are many if few people who would able to do it, but if you are able to spend let's say 12 lakh rupees in a month itself, then Magnus Burgundy is a card which will actually give you enough points for two people.
so friends, if you are spending 10 to 12 lakh rupees per month, just get the Axis Magnus Burgundy. You don't have to
That's
do
a
anything.
no-brainer right now.
So, I mean, but the problem with
No,
Axis
yeah,
Burgundy or Atlas is there are a lot of exclusions, right? Even if I'm
yes,
buying jewelry, I don't get points.
that's the
So then
problem with
it's a
access,
bummer, right?
right,
Where will I spend so much money unless I buy a lot of luxury stuff? Then
right.
only probably I can spend. So yes, If you are somebody who is spending a lot of money, then Axis Burgundy is actually a good card to look at. But otherwise,
Right.
you can play the Atlas and MX game as well. Now, let us also talk about MX, Arshit. What are your
Right.
thoughts on
Now moving on to the last and I guess a most difficult partner to win with, but I guess it's the cards are most easiest to get, right? The AMX cards, right? So I am again talking about the worst case here that you are not able to find saver seats. So Amex, as you mentioned, it is a 2:1 partner with Singapore Airlines. So you convert, let's say, 3,92,000 Amex MR points to your Singapore airline points. That would be coming around to your 1,96,000 requirement, right, for two people. Now, to collect the 3,92,000 points, the problem with Amex is max, let's say if you can have the trifecta, that is the three best cards of for a beginner for MX, that is Platinum Travel, Gold, and MRCC, you can actually get around 1.1 to 1.3 lakh points on 7 lakh spends, right? And
okay?
that is on the three cards. Now, if you have your spouse who is also earning, right, and if your family spends are, let's say, 15-20 lakhs a year, like ours, like means 20-25 lakhs a year, family spends, right? So you can get two sets of trifecta, right? So now that actually brings up your, let's say, earning capability to 2.2, 2.3 lakhs or approx 2.5 max. You can actually earn approx after spending 1.15 lakhs in a year, right? And you have to again then grind that for a year, and now if you now you're still falling short of, let's say, 1.5 lakh points. Now in that case you can do two things. You can actually spend, let's say, for 6 months more on this trifecta and then collect that those points. But and if that is not the case, and if you want to get it instantly, then of course Amex has this platinum charge card which actually provides you 1.5 lakh points in your 77,000 rupees fees.
Upgrade.
So yeah, they upgrade it to the platinum charge card. So of
That's
course
also
it
not a bad idea, actually.
right. So if you are net spending, let's say, 70,000 on your fees, and let's say 15 lakhs on your three six cards, then effectively you are getting a 6 lakh rupees
Amazing,
return.
amazing. I mean,
Yep.
for me, anything above 10% back on my spends is a great reward rate, right? So
Eh,
here, if you're getting 6 lakhs worth of seats for on spending 15 lakh rupees, it's incredibly mind blowing, right?
exactly.
That's a 40% back. So
Right.
Harshit, like, let's move on. Let us tell us about any other. Now, let us talk about hotel redemptions, right? How do you look at
Right.
hotel redemptions? Because you may not be doing suites all the time, right? But
Right.
most of the time you may be redeeming your points in
Right.
hotel, right? So, what are your preferred chains of hotels, Harshit, to start with?
Sure. So we, of course, I before this credit card game, I have not been to, let's say, any of the big chains, and let's say all these Marriotts, ITCs, and the Taj of the world. I haven't been there. Maybe let's say someone is throwing a party over there, then we might have visited once. And let's say if you are in Mumbaikar and you are going outside of your, let's say, this gateway of India, and you see Taj over there, and there's the in the back of the your mind, you always think that yes, one day I'll go and stay
अभी
here
तो
or
रहना है
have.
वहाँ पे,
अभी
correct.
तो रहना है, एक दिन कॉफी पी के ही आ जाएंगे, ऐसा कुछ नहीं था.
Even in fact, I also went there in 2010 when I was an intern, right? And I had the exactly same thought कि यार कभी तो यहाँ रहेंगे.
Exactly. And that happens with the Taj and that Taj Palace itself. I don't know if it happens with any other kind of hotel, but that one feeling comes with that hotel. And we actually fulfilled this year, again, backed by totally credit cards. And it's easier than all this Singapore Suites kind of experience, which is, let's say, of course, this is a once in a lifetime experience, the Singapore Suites, but these are easier to get. The hotel redemptions are easier to get. So now how again I am coming back to that luxury enablers once. So whenever we do a small short vacation, or let's say we are celebrating anniversaries, birthdays, anything like that, we try to actually take advantage of our points and then actually book these luxury hotels, right? So from since I've gotten into this game, I have stayed into the ITC's, let's say, most luxurious, most grand hotel, that is ITC Grand Bharat, that is in Gurugram, actually spread in, I guess, more than 200 acres, I guess. And it has its own luxury golf course and only suites, right? Only suites, nothing, no normal rooms there, only suites rooms. Again, one heck of an experience there. And this year, on my anniversary again we actually stayed in Taj. This where we finally yeah, and that was
Okay.
again backed by credit card points, specifically Amex. So again, it's easy to get a Taj kind of stay via Amex. So I'll just quickly explain that as well, right? If you spend 4 lakh, let's say on your platinum travel, you get the 10,000 Taj voucher, around 50 to 60,000 points, right? And I guess you can convert those 50 60,000 points into Taj per vouchers again. That is into almost 2:1 ratio. A little bit higher, but yeah, I would just pick 50% kind of a rate. So almost 30 40,000 rupees of stay you can actually uh, cover by only spending 4 lakh kind of a spends, right? So when we stayed in Taj, we booked, let's say, a superior room was the name, and it was around 18, going around 18,000 rupees. And we just requested for an upgrade, and they actually upgraded to a 1 lakh rupee room. So you
Wow.
so you can guess means how. And again, this 20,000 rupees, that 18,000 rupee room, and some food and beverage expense, we actually settled directly via credit card points. That is the vouchers.
Ashit, does this always work requesting for upgrades and
No, no.
getting
So
upgrades?
I
Any
have
strategy
been
there?
I have been actually told no quite a few times as well. So during our recent experience with ITC Rajputana, it's of course it's not a let's say a given that they should provide you right. There's kind of a privilege if you request them, if they have the availability, they think that yes we can provide the upgrade, then they will be happy to provide, right?
So,
But
as
then
a thumb rule, it would make sense to just always ask, right? There's no
yeah,
harm in asking.
just no. Of course, if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
Correct,
So
exactly. So
you can just
always
request.
whenever you check in, right, just go and whenever you are checking at the time of checking, just ask for an upgrade, ask for free breakfast. You never know when you
Never,
can get.
exactly. And free breakfast generally works with Marriott because Marriott are the properties where if you don't have status, you won't get the free breakfast altogether.
Yeah.
So again, that also comes into play. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So Arshit, do you have a set redemption rate in mind that whenever I'm redeeming my points for flights or airlines or be it anything, right, that I want minimum this much reward rate on my points? Do you go by that formula?
Actually, I've stopped playing that game altogether because the thing is that I believe again coming to that luxury enabler, the thing is that I just chase let's experiences and actually not much focus on value right now. So if
So
yeah,
So
so
idea
that's
is
my
that focus on stuff that you cannot buy in cash
right.
and try to
You will
experience the
maybe
best
maybe you can buy and spend cash, but you won't mostly because there's a mental block for you that
Correct,
why
correct.
would I
I'm not
go
saying
and
that
spend? Yeah,
yeah, correct. I mean, even if affordability permits, you will probably think twice before spending that money, right? But
right.
if you have the points, try to focus on things which you will experience only by credit card points. So, in hotels, apart from the suite that you just spoke about, any other very fancy, very high-end luxury redemption that you have done in hotels?
So, so this is again the Magnus era, the peak Magnus era, where actually people were getting 50, 40, 50% kind of returns per
Yeah.
month on their credit card spends. I actually managed to get in, let's say, 7 8 months of spends on Magnus and actually collected a huge pile of points, which I actually burnt over my Europe experience, right? My first Europe trip that was in November 2023, our anniversary celebration as well, first anniversary, and we traveled to Europe, Greece, Italy, across Italy, and Paris. And there we actually managed to grab again a panoramic kind of view of the entire Paris city, 23rd floor. And again, this was again a 20,000 rupees room which we had booked, but then requested for an upgrade, and then we got a 1.5 lakh rupees room in there
Oh,
as well.
super.
So this specific hotel was two hotel. And again, one more hotel I would like to actually give a shout out here is one in Florence. There was this 25 hours hotel. Their rooms were so good. Basically, they have this theme going on where they have rooms in two types, heaven and hell. So when you go to heaven room, it's everything is light blue, all light, and let's say god kind of a room. And then when you go to hell, everything changes, everything is red, dark red, black, all those kind of stuff. So it was amazing, amazing. And this again covered by
Is
Accor
it
points.
Accor group? Okay, it's a
Yes,
part of Accor group. Okay.
yes,
Suppose if you're traveling to Europe, probably Accor has better redemption rates and
yes,
more properties compared to Marriott. I think I have also experienced that the points requirement for Marriott redemptions generally is
quite
very
high,
high
right.
in Europe compared to Accor. So if you are and Accor points are earned from Axis and HDFC, I
And
think.
HDFC, yeah,
Right. All right. So, Harshit, now let us come to the personal finance aspect of it.
yeah.
How do you manage your income? I mean, how do you manage your investments, right? Do you tend to overspend because you're getting certain rewards on the credit cards? How do you manage your consciousness? How do you manage your psychological behavior, right, as far as spending is concerned?
It's quite easy to get swayed by this because you go around, let's say if you are on Twitter, on Instagram, anywhere, now these kind of phrases, headlines are actually making rounds. You see, let's say, an article coming up, let's say how stayed in a hotel for free, how I actually redeemed this for free, that for free. So this actually can sway you to spend more as well, right, on your credit card, because you are not actually thinking that so if it is hard cash, it's going out of your hand. It's a psychological thing that yeah, it's a hard cash, and if you are just tapping and just leaving and then paying, then it's kind of a thing that yeah, you don't need it, you don't need to pay right now, you can pay it afterwards as well. So one thing which has worked personally for me is actually I just think at that particular moment, if I wouldn't have a credit card, would I do this spend or not? Just a simple thing which worked for me a lot of times, right? So that is for the specific thing. And of course, you second, just don't apply cards for the sake of it, right? So
Okay.
some hobbies like you and I, we can actually apply cards, and of course they can stay in our drawers forever, right? There are many cards, that we just apply for paying the fees and get the benefits, like married one way kind of card. So those cards, if you have more cards, then of course you tend to actually split more of your spends and then kind of actually overspend on this. I have my friends who are actually rotating money on credit cards. That's really bad actually, because you actually end up paying a lot more, and then you don't have that income, and then you actually go into that debt trap. So just one simple thing, that if you had a debit card, would you make this purchase or not, is just a simple question you ask every time when you are making that let's say um, uh, instantaneous kind of spend, or means which will have make you happy just in that particular moment. Yeah,
Okay. So, guys, as a thumb rule, try to ask yourself: would you make any spend if you were doing it with a debit card or through your UPI app, right?
right,
I have observed, Harshit, that people who tend to have a lot of tend to take a lot of experiences through these credit card points are also very conscious about their personal finance, right?
right.
So, what is your savings rate right now? How much do you save as a percentage of your income?
माय फर्स्ट रूल इज फर्स्ट, भाई पहले सेव करना है फिर एक्सपेंड करना है, सिंपल है
Superb, superb.
बहुत. सो
Okay. So
या,
Harshit is first investing for his financial goals and
यस,
only then, spending money on credit cards.
या,
And that's what all of you should do. And that's what we at Holistic Wealth also tell all our
yeah.
clients.
And one
And
more just
yeah,
thought I would like to add, and these are not, let's say, your alu dalo sona niklega kind of schemes, right? Means you have to spends on your credit, do spends on your credit card, then only you will get those points, and then only you would actually have these experiences. And for doing spends, you will, of course, the first thing you will want is your own income to be go up, your own salaries to go up, right? So that is all a function of your salary and not the other way around, is what I feel.
right. Absolutely. Very good inputs, Harshit. I think we'll end the discussion here today. It's already, we've spent more than 30 minutes discussing all of it today. So, Harshit, before we conclude, where do viewers follow you? Where all, they can get in touch? How can they get in touch with you as well?
So first of all, actually, before signing off, I would thank Neeraj to give this opportunity to me. So there's just small anecdote I would like to share is that I started this journey of miles and points game by this channel itself because first
Oh, yeah.
interview I remember is it was with Tejas
Yes, yes.
Gogandi, and it was a superb interview. Very basically basics. You guys even covered the basics of it, and that all actually got me interested to get play this miles and points game, and that was the starting point. So I would actually thank you to that you have me here today. It was a great pleasure to actually talk to you
I'm
about this.
also very honored, and I'm also, quite inspired that people actually learned from the content that we created
Yeah,
on the channel, and you have applied this to your life, and also not let ruin your
yeah,
personal finances because of this, right?
yeah,
So, Harshit,
yeah.
please definitely tell everyone where should they reach out to you, because you are posting a lot of content about credit cards and redemption. So I'm sure they should definitely follow you. Please
Yeah,
share.
so primarily on Twitter, I run this page called as Cards Wizard, that is CARDS Cards underscore Wizard, WIZARD. And we have this parallel channel where we actually post affiliate links and Amazon affiliate links. This is Deals Wizard. Again, of course, you can support us there as well. And I take much pride in actually my content, and I started this page to actually give high quality content, and you can actually see that on my page as well. Whenever I write a thread, I think so that it should be useful, let's say 3 years down the line as well. So I have that thought process while making that threads, and you can DM me there. I will always try to actually reply to you, and if I don't reply the same day, hopefully I will reply to you the next day. But yeah, I will try to reply.
Folks, follow Harshit on Cards Wizard and Deals Wizard on X. And I am also sharing the links for his Twitter handle and the threads that he have written. You can always reach out to him for questions. We are also there, as always, as usual, to answer all your questions. Thank you for watching.